were only 2 inches apart. So
okay.
Yeah. So what's? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So there's the other one. But you say we dug it at that feature one and we found it?
I had to leave to go get phone service. The pipe was exposed, but not enough for them to be locating the weld yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to be real interested to see if it was at that feature location. So the 3D stake that is marked SCZ should be is where they think that the anomaly is.
So there is two 3D stakes marked SCZ, and then they have different corresponding numbers. So they'll have the SCZ D6, like you explained to Felicia's text earlier.
Yeah.
There's two of those, but they have the last couple numbers are different. But
yeah, the last three numbers are just their internal stuff for identifying it at 3D as it goes through their internal process.
So based off your explanation of the 3D stakes, there should be two anomalies there. I don't think there is, but there's this whole process could be simplified a lot better. They're leaving too much room for confusion.
Well, and what's worrying me is that the way I'm looking at this on the map, they didn't find an anomaly where Robert had marked as being the anomaly.
Right.
And they found two anomalies elsewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's looking like. It looks like the whole thing should be opened up.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we find.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you'd like to be brought up to speed on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think we could end up digging up, 40 feet through there.
Right.
And what I don't know is whether we ought to go ahead and dig up those two SCZ points if we find the anomaly where Robert had marked it.
Yeah, I figure the pictures should let you understand the setup, and you can kind of turn it over in your mind a little more while they're continuing to dig.
So is from where, looking at the drawings or at the pictures here, so you've got what looks like the stake. This one, the first picture, number 1 of 3 that you sent me.
Yes, sir.
There's a stake that looks like one of Robert's stakes over on the right side of the picture.
Let's see here, the first one.
To the right of the shovel.
Yes, it goes. Yes, that is correct.
Is that the one where the anomaly is, or is that the upstream weld?
So the upstream weld is the far back stake back there by the utility trailer with the mats on it. You'll have to zoom in to get a better view of it.
Okay, so I'm only seeing 3 stakes. Is that?
No, sir. There's 4. So,
are there 2 right there close to each other back by the?
No, sir. They're all separated by 20 feet or so, 15, 20 feet.
Okay.
So the upstream stake, if you zoom in on the utility trailer, the upstream stake is maybe 12 foot to the right of the utility trailer.
Oh, okay, back there in the weeds?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see it. All right.
So
then you got that one that's got kind of the yellow or orange or whatever on the stake. I'm assuming that's one of the CSZs.
Yes, sir. That's one of those. Yes.
Or SCZs, and then the other yellow stake one, and then you've got the downstream weld of the anomaly, which is right next to the downstream weld. So I guess the first thing I'd ask is it about 51 feet from that upstream stake to the anomaly? You said you thought that was probably about right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That'd be a loose guess there.
Okay. I mean, where those other two are makes no sense to me.
No, they got it. They got it surrounded.
Well, and if there is a second anomaly there, if there's two anomalies there, that would be the first time we've seen it on the 16-inch that we've seen the corrosion that wasn't associated with the weld.
Right.
And it's looked to me like that fusion bond coating. I mean, it's hard to see in the pictures, but it looks to me like the fusion bond coating is in fairly good shape.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And they're running plenty of CP.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd argue sometimes that they're running a little too much CP. But anyway, all right. Well, keep me posted on what you find.
All right, I have a if you got a couple more minutes, I have some engineering questions for you since you're our engineer.
Yeah.
Do you have access to your box so you can follow along with what I'm looking at?
Yep. Hold on. I have to open her up. Just a minute. Okay.
All right.
That's the homepage or the home menu.
We're looking in the welding folder.
Okay.
And we're looking under the BB3 procedure.
Okay.
So BB003.
Yep. I got it open.
All right. You're scrolling to the last of those procedures in that folder. It's going.
Okay, so the one that's page 6.
Where's my page numbers here? I don't even see page numbers. So it's going to be PQR 003 SF. You're going to see the PQR in the top left corner of the form.
Okay.
So there's 6 pages. So yeah, it'll be the 5th and 6th page.
So I found where that looks, where the PQR number is. So say that again. PQR what?
003 SF for sleeve fillet.
Yeah. So the one I'm looking at says PQR-BB-003SF.
Yes, that is correct. I shortened it there, but yes, that's the same one.
Okay.
All right, so it's a 2-page. If you scroll to the last page of it.
Yeah, that's what was throwing me the first time. So.
Okay. Sorry. So on the last page of that 003 SF, pretty much everything is blank, but the test results and the tensile results are blank. And I was wondering, where is the complete results for our performance qualification test?
That's a really good question.
Do we have any other, or is this it?
I'm gonna have to go back and look. Andy's the one who got this stuff put together.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm gonna have to go back and look at some emails I got from him about the procedure qualification records.
So
see what I've got.
How can I say this? I'm in kind of a tight spot, but I'll just tell you how it is. So there's some major issues going on here, and they need to get addressed before the next weld, which is why I asked you the other day when our next weld was.
Yeah.
So
probably next site, by the way.
Yes, sir, it is. So these forms are incomplete, like to the point that in an audit, WSB would be in a serious bind. So this isn't a little smoke over, it's going to be okay. This is a big deal.
Yeah, we got to have the. Yep.
So I figured with your engineering background, you would understand right away how big of a deal this is.
Yeah, I don't have an engineering background to understand that.
Well, some people assume that things will be okay, and a lot of things will until it gets into legal forms, and then it's a problem.
Yeah.
So the PQR that we just looked at, we went to this one because this is the one that pertains to the welding of the sleeves.
Right.
So this PQR is what makes our welding procedure legal. So the PQR is not legal, and our welding procedure is not legal. Even if the PQR was legal, if you look at our welding procedure, which is the first 2 pages, there's more left blank than there is filled in. Like, even the welding procedure on its own is not going to hold up in court.
I'm looking at the first 2 pages,
So it's the weld procedure is WPS BB003.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
So if you look at any other welding procedure, there's criteria that has to be met in order for a procedure to be valid, and it's not met on the welding procedure or the performance qualification, and that's a really big deal. So this is the tight spot because me and Andy have been friends for a long time, but Andy's trying to smoke over this, and this is going to get WBS in a lot of trouble. WSB, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of throwing a lot at you, but we're supposed to have a NDT procedure as well. And we don't have an NDT procedure either. These are all, so everything that I've stated, this is not just standard procedure how it's done. This is straight from the federal statutes. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
So I kind of threw a lot at you, but yeah, there's a major problem coming up.
So, do you know who signed these, the approved by?
So Scott Harvey, I don't know who he is, but he is the CWI that signed those. So here's the problem. I'll kind of give you the long story of how this happened, how I came across it. So when I'm reading through the welding procedure, obviously given my background, it caught my attention real fast that that's not right. Like, to the point that I don't trust the welding procedure. But because a legally valid welding procedure has been tested, to engineering standards, it's like, well, okay. I'll look at the results of it, and since it's tested, I can trust it that way, but there's no results. So I talked to the welders, and the welders said that when they set the welding procedure to establish sorry, I'm getting lost on my words. When they set the initial test welds to show that we could make a quality weld in the first place before they ever tested, I don't know if that makes sense, but they never destructively tested the weld to establish the procedure qualification. Like, that's That has to be done. That's why when we looked at that form, it's blank.
That's right. That's how you establish the procedures. Okay, is you got to destructively test it.
Yeah.
So my understanding was that the procedures we were using were procedures that had been destructively tested, just not for black bear. That they were procedures that were destructively tested for similar work on another company.
Right. At that point, it forces WSB to back themselves in court off hearsay.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it forces us to accept in writing the weld procedure from another company, which I wouldn't have a problem with as long as I had the destructive testing results, but those are missing.
Yes.
As you pointed out. So we either need something else here that has the destructive testing results, and then we would need to have a letter accepting those, the procedure, and that's fine. I mean, that happens a lot, particularly in smaller companies where when I was at Summit, we used to just accept the welding procedures for XL Energy at Black Hills, because all the guys that welded for us had cards from XL and Black Hills, and they were done with a certain welding procedure that XL had put together or that Black Hills had put together, and so we just accepted their qualifications based on those weld procedures. But we had more information than this. So I will look into this and see if I can figure out kind of where we're at on it.
So I'll throw a few more things at you. So to use another company's procedure, like you said, it's not that really unheard of. But on paper, what we're telling the courts, if we ever have a blowout and we have to back up ourselves, what we're telling them is that we ran our own procedure, which the welders did. The welders set the procedures, but they never destructively tested those procedures, which means the procedures that they set are, you might as well wad them up and throw them in the trash, which means our WPS is completely invalid as well.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
One more thing. I know I'm interrupting your day, but this is...
No, that's right.
All right, so this is, you might know this, you might not. I'll throw it your way anyways, because it's kind of my area. But on a welding procedure, by law, it has to be diagrammed and sketched out, like where the passes go, how wide, how tall. It has to give you some kind of guideline, and there's multiple requirements that have to be on a welding procedure, and none of that is on ours. So even if our procedure qualification was good, our welding procedure is still not good.
The write-up on it is not good, is what you're saying. Which
yes,
is that's the same thing. So
yes.
All right.
I've talked to Andy about it. That's why I was hesitant going into this much detail. And Andy has been, I don't really know any other way to put it, he's been blowing smoke up my ass. This is really the accurate description. And this isn't something to just rely on hearsay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I've done my due diligence. I've made you aware of it. I'll let you take off with it from there.
Yep. Well, first thing I'm going to do is go back and find the emails from Andy about the weld stuff and make sure that what got put in box is what we actually have. That's my first, I'm curious about that.
Right.
So I got to go back and take a look. I think those were put in the box before we started the project. So let me go find those, dig that information up, and then I'll have a conversation with Andy about it. So.
Okay, that sounds good. All righty, Tim. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, then let me know what happens on those where you find that stuff relative to those stakes.
Yes, sir. Will do. I'll keep you posted.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All righty.
Bye.